No. Yes. Well, what I mean is, why else would it... Brad, don't look at me that way. And don't think I'm crazy. But could we have a Dracula running loose out there?
Just another movie night.
Hello and welcome to the show. I am Scott and this is Joe.
Hi, I'm Joe.
You are Joe. And we are Just Another Movie Night, and this is before and after reviews where we go see a brand new movie in the theater and give our thoughts before and after. Spoiler free, of course. I feel like I always need to say that to everybody. Spoiler free.
Yeah, I think
at least we try. I think
Yeah.
I think I do a better job than you do.
For the most part, yeah, we we don't spoil anything, but sometimes I get angry or annoyed and I'm just like, yeah, fuck it.
Do you know what we're seeing tonight?
We are seeing The Last Voyage of the Demeter.
Good job. I was wondering. You know, for some reason in my mind, I wanted to keep saying things like, last day, the trip. I kept forgetting that it was called the Voyage.
Yeah, it's a voyage. It's a boat.
And also, well, yeah.
It's a ship.
I also keep forgetting that it's the last voyage. I just kept going, the Voyage of the Demeter.
Okay. Well, we all know everyone's going to die in it.
And I keep wanting to say the word Demeter.
Oh, because you're a Harry Potter lunatic and you love everything about...
I'm not a lunatic. I do enjoy it.
I think you're a lunatic. It's not a bad thing.
So I can call you like a Lord of the Rings lunatic?
Yeah, I am definitely a Lord of the Rings lunatic.
I've never been called a lunatic. Is that what the next evolution of insults?
Oh, no, but
like it was like nerd, geek, dork, and now it's like lunatic.
No, with me, lunatic is a good thing. It's like weirdo.
Is that true?
Like when I say what a weirdo, like it's a good thing because weirdos are my people. You know? Just saying.
All right, Gonzo.
Love you.
And I love you too. And now, do you know what kind of movie this is tonight? Do you know what the theme is?
Yes, I do.
Do you know what kind of genre, subgenre of horror movies this is?
Well, we're not going to say elevated horror because I know that you hate that.
No, I mean,
but we're going to say
it has a genre. It's a theme. It's a genre. It's its own genre, right? Do you know what it is?
Yeah, I guess so. We're going with...
This shouldn't be that hard. It's a monster film. It's a certain kind of monster. Do you know what kind it is?
Dracula.
It's time for a drag attack. We've got all kinds of vamps. This is a vampire flick.
Prince of Darkness, the Nightcrawler, the Bloodsucker.
This isn't a Nosferatu movie.
No, it's Dracula. Am I saying it good?
I just like every time I hear it, people saying it a little different. Dracula. Dracula. Vlad the Impaler. Dracula.
I mean, he looks more like Nosferatu, but...
I like when people go, Dracula.
Dracula. I know.
Dracula.
Get a hold of yourselves.
It's
Dracula.
It's a drag attack.
Yeah. So, we're taking place on the seas, on the high seas.
Yeah, this is the boat from Bromstrogel.
I don't even know what you're saying.
This is
I think you just made it up.
No, the novel.
Are you trying to say Bram Stoker?
Yeah, I was like Bram Stoker.
You got something in your throat?
Dracula. Yeah, this is from that novel. This is the boat that carries old Drac to his destination in the opening, right? To get closer to whatever her name was. What the hell is her name? You know, Dracula's main girl, his tight squeeze.
Ursula?
He finds out basically, her husband, her fiance, comes and stays at his castle, and he sees a picture of her, and she's like a exact replica of his late love, like the reincarnation. What? I think it's changed too, because I think in the book there's two women, because there's her friend, it's like the first one he turns when he gets there. Remember, there's the other friend. I believe they swapped the names. Am I correct in this assumption? I know that some of the Christopher Lee ones have gone back to that a little bit. We're talking about some weird Dracula shit.
Yeah,
now.
we are.
I'm getting really into the weird stuff.
We're getting into the lore. You have to give me time to prepare for these kind of things.
Well, I believe that he leaves her fiance with he has like 3 Dracula women to hang out in his castle.
Yep, he does.
And then he decides to go on this boat to go get her with Renfield. Mm-hmm. And his coffin is like hidden, and Renfield's kind of protecting it. Now, that's this boat. And so they're saying this is like the last voyage where he killed everybody on that boat. I don't know if that's from the book. I really don't remember this. I do remember that Renfield was found on the boat. I don't know if Dracula killed everybody on the boat.
Yeah, I don't know.
I guess so, because he was found like a lunatic on the boat, laughing. Which is in the original Dracula movie, the black and white Dracula with Bella. I just remember the actor who played Renfield just being so over the top and so insane. He's almost like the Joker.
Yes.
It always made me laugh so hard, because Bela Lugosi was just so, reserved comparatively to the actor playing Renfield.
He had to be. He's Dracula.
Yeah, but I'm not sure. That's what I was really interested in this movie, because I'm guessing they're going to say that, because let's face facts, this can't be just that voyage where he just like the trip and he kills everybody on board.
I mean, yes, it is. It has to be. I mean,
they're going to have to change it. They're going to kill him in this. There's no way. There's no way this is going to end with Dracula getting away.
What if this is it turns into like a trilogy or something? What do you think? What if this is the start of something? So, my expectations are that this is the start of something. I really do think that. I don't think that it could be the last voyage of the Demeter, meaning that the crew is all going to die, but he gets away. That's what I think.
What, Dracula?
Yeah. Like, maybe not a trilogy, but maybe like there'll be another one, and maybe it'll be like the start of something, because I feel like he's going to get off the ship, and I feel like killing him is too easy.
It's a movie. It has to have a finale. They can't just let Dracula get away.
But what if they do? So
I mean, then I'd be very impressed, but I don't think that's going to happen. What I think is going to happen, because there is a character in the trailer introduced that is like, oh, he's so well learned and he knows a lot of information, and he's like, and he's so doesn't really fit the time period of what's going on in that, and that's why I know he's going to be the hero who's going to beat the Dracula. And that's what bothers me about it, because, well, I will say this though, it would be really neat if it ends where he's a vampire.
Okay, so you're speaking of Corey Hawkins, who is the lead in this?
Yes.
He's the one that played Dr. Dre in Straight Outta Compton?
Yes.
Okay. So you think that he's gonna take down Dracula?
Oh, he's the hero.
Okay, I think so too.
Not even.
He's top billed here, but I mean, it doesn't always mean anything, because we also have Liam Cunningham, who is he was in Game of Thrones.
Unfortunately, I've seen this trailer, so I know a lot of things that happen in it.
Yeah.
So. This movie is one of those movies that gives you a trailer that pretty much shows you a lot of the plot line, which is disappointing.
Yeah.
Because what would be really great is if one of the people on board was secretly Dracula, but instead we see that he's like full on monster mode in this.
Okay, well, we've seen Dracula do things before in movies that
would be kind of cool, though.
Maybe it's possible. I mean, who knows? But what are your expectations?
Well, I mean, I guess I should point this out, because one of my biggest problems, and I don't know if we've talked about this because I think the last movie we've actually done that had vampires on it, on all of our shows, both of our shows, I think the last one was The Invitation. That was in the theater, I believe, last year.
Yeah.
Which was disappointing. And I actually think we did that. I don't even know if it was Talking Trash at the time because that was an
No.
earlier episode.
I think we did a before and after on that.
Did we? And it didn't turn into a
No.
Talking Trash. It
no,
might have.
I don't think so because I didn't find it as appalling as you. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it either.
I think I don't know. I'd have to look into this. But yeah, that was the last one we done that was on any kind of vampire stuff. And a couple of our other movies we made a lot of jokes about it. But I think that was the last movie we tackled about vampires. And I don't know if on that episode we talked about my. I don't know how to say this. My maybe dislike of vampire films. And we actually have been joking around for a long time about we just started watching Dracula or vampire films every I believe it was 1 month a year. We just
June.
we're going to make this Dracula month because we're always trying to find good ones.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like scraping the barrel and I think the majority of movies that I've seen I haven't liked very much.
Well, we've
Because-
seen a lot of vampire movies already, so for them to come out with something new at this point that's refreshing, it's rough.
Yeah, or does something with the mythology that's just really, really interesting. And a lot of the ones I think you've given credit, I'm not a big fan of. And I don't know if that's vice versa, but I know that I have like a list of movies I think you've disagreed
Don't
with.
fucking say The Lost Boys because that is like the best.
It's I could debate on it.
I mean, you can debate all you want, but that's me. Lost Boys is
Yeah, I know that. I'm just saying there's a list of movies that some people really adore that I just haven't understood. The
like
love
Van
for.
Helsing.
Ooh,
Van Helsing people love, and I think it's trash.
we need to revisit that. I haven't
No,
seen that
we're
since it
good.
came out.
No, we don't need
That's
to
like a
revisit.
90s film, right? It has all the 90s terrible things.
Yeah, that's why it's no, it's actually not. It's 2004.
Is it?
Yes, and it's. I mean, I love Hugh Jackman, but he's not sweetening the pot.
Is it really 2000s?
It's 2004.
Holy shit.
Interview with the Vampire was good.
Yeah, I mean, we could go down the list.
Yeah.
Near Dark is one I don't understand.
I like that one.
I know. A lot of people seem to, and I'm not a big fan of it. I think it does a lot of things that I don't like about movies. And I think that vampire films have become like the Giallo films, where I just am struggling to be a fan of them. And that's really weird because in Vampire, I love the mythology. Like, I love the idea of vampires, and I love the idea of Dracula. It's classic. You know, it's one of those timeless horror movies and horror movie creatures and stories that are just really amazing. And I think when I saw the preview for this, I kind of was a little bit of excited because it does tie into that original lore, which you don't see very often. And also, this is a part of the story that really never really gets delved into. Like, there's not a lot of mythology to this boat. At least I don't know, and maybe there is. But this one was new to me. When I saw the trailer, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
that's kind of a cool
Same.
thing to come up with this idea.
Yeah, I felt the same. I was like, oh.
But that being said, I feel like this is going to dive into every trope that vampire films have.
Well, I would say yes. I mean, it's hard not to these days. Like, there's, like we had in the 80s, which were just, is such a great decade. I love the horror movies of the 80s. We had like Fright Night. That was different, but now all the new vampire movies that they're making, just, they seem to kind of be one and the same,
That's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't really have any expectations for this, but I will say that the best case scenario is what I was thinking, is that he does get off the boat and they leave it open to make another one.
That's weird because you can't do it like another voyage of it because it's the last
I
one.
know.
It's the end of this boat.
But you can't also make a freaking 1.5 to 2 hour long movie and have him just picking off people one by one and not have it get stale after a bit. You know what I mean?
And I
There
think that's
has to be
exactly what it's going to
something.
be.
Well, there has to be something more to this movie than just that.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that it's dark and creepy. These are my hopes for this movie. It's dark and creepy, which I saw in the trailer. It was. I hope the monster looks good.
It does look pretty good.
I mean, I want to see
I hope
it
it's not CG.
up close so I
Yeah.
can tell if it's CG or not.
Yeah, there's some amazing shots in the trailer.
I mean, of course, it's gonna be CG in some scenes, but like,
Yeah.
if they try practical, that would be better. If they just try, but
Yeah.
I have a feeling that they won't. So
yeah, I agree with you.
I don't know. I think I might. I'm a little hesitant, but I'm also very excited because I love horror movies and vampire movies and stuff. So I think I'm gonna come out of this with a 6.
Yeah, I mean, I think the 6 is the hope because I can't imagine it being better than that. But I was actually going to say a horror movie / boat thing is this show The Terror. The first season of that took place on a boat called
Yeah.
and that show exactly hammered how scary this could be, and that they did some kind of creature was attacking them.
Yeah.
And they're on a boat, and they're stuck, and
There's
there's nowhere to go.
freezing conditions,
Yeah.
ice. The boat gets stuck in the ice.
I cannot suggest that first season of that show enough.
It was
was
great.
so amazing. It's a standalone first season, and it's incredible, and it nails it. And I think if this even reaches any of the ideas from that, like being stuck and you can't go anywhere, and the only option is the sea or death on a boat by this thing, that could be really, really interesting. But I definitely think my low expectation is that it's just going to be very straightforward. Vampires taking like people one by one on a boat. Passengers got to figure it out. They turn on each other a little bit. Someone gets turned. And the hero beats the monster, and he's the only one left, and somehow he's out in the middle of the ocean.
I mean, I just feel like we see that in every monster movie. It's like getting picked off one by one, and then there's one guy that's going to save the day. He's the last guy, and he's the one that takes down the monster. It's like, come on. We want something different. That's why I'm hoping he gets away. But yeah. I'm very excited to see this movie. I just I like the trailer a lot. It's very intriguing. So yeah, well, let's go see this movie.
Let's go check it out.
In the night, it drinks our blood. He is here. We call him Dracula.
He's coming! Did you see the size of that bloody thing? I want to kill the cursed thing.
He is on this ship, which means that we will never leave it.
The devil is real. May God have mercy on us all.
We took a voyage. We took a trip. We're back.
On the open seas.
On the open seas.
On the Demeter.
The old miss.
The old man.
We saw a vampire film, and we're vamped out. We're done. We've been sucked dry. It's over. So,
I've been sucked dry.
ooh. Hey now.
I mean, ew, but okay.
So, Nosferatu.
Drained of all my essence right now.
A Dracul. Nosferatu.
Dracula.
So yeah, I mean, look, hey guys, we saw a movie, and in this movie, things happened, and how we feel, well, I'm not particularly sure how I feel. How do you feel?
Well, I'm pretty sure how I feel.
Yeah, go ahead, tell me.
I thought this movie had a lot of potential. I thought there were some scenes in this movie that were eye-opening and like, wow, that's cool. That, they did some really cool things in this. But I also thought it was a bit ridiculous. I feel like I didn't feel the time period at all. I did like some of the characters, but I also feel like a lot of them are forced to be like stereotypical. They kind of seem like pirates a little bit. Some of them, just the dirty,
Yeah.
swashbucklers or whatever. I said swashbucklers.
Swash away, baby.
I like swashbucklers.
I think because of that, it did feel the time period. I feel like the characters did feel like a boat crew, and they're basically saying that they're moving outside of the time where they use these pirate ship-esque boats of wood, and so that this is kind of the last of that breed, and that was kind of neat. But the big problem here really is that this is a Dracula film that takes place in a part of the novel. And that aspect, I think, is neat. But the problem with that is that you kind of know the ending. And I think I talked about that before. And regardless of how that plays out, the movie is very typical, almost. It follows a formulaic plot that you've seen in a lot of movies. It doesn't really use the dread of the ocean. In fact, it almost feels like the ocean doesn't exist in this film. It's there just to sail on, but if storms just come and go. Things are just happening, and no one really references it. It's not about the dread of where can we go, what is the fear here. It's just moving from night to night.
Yeah.
And so it moves quickly, and characters figure something out, something's happening, we see that thing happen, and then the next moment it's night again, and it happens again, and it just keeps playing out until the end of the film. And unfortunately, you've seen that formula so many times.
Yes, you have.
I do think that some of the actors kind of brought it to life a little better than it could have been, and there were some neat shocks that could have played out better. This definitely feels like somebody who has seen a bunch of other vampire films and taken some ideas from them, namely Salem's Lot and Nosferatu.
Yes. But I will say that, well, that being said, with the other movies, I feel like they didn't really get the memo about vampire movies either. Like, I thought that they did some cool stuff that you can see that they would kind of like understand Nosferatu and, other vampire movies, but I feel like they didn't really, there's a lot of missing parts in this. And there's a lot of weak parts in this, especially the girl. I thought the girl was the weakest part of the movie. I have a lot of questions also. There's kind of like some plot holes in this that I have questions about. But
This definitely suffers from that idea of we have to do certain things now. And you can feel that here specifically. They definitely hammer in some of the cliche plots that you know that we have to jar in every movie. And I think the female character is very specifically that. It doesn't want to follow its own lore while also trying to balance that idea that no matter what, the strongest character is going to be the woman character now. And I'm fine with that. I didn't mind her. I actually thought she was kind of decent, but because of how things are playing out, I don't think it really
it doesn't gel. It doesn't gel at all. Like
doesn't
with
gel.
her, especially, like
it feels forced.
it feels very forced, and it was a little jarring because there's just so many questions that I have about her, and we really don't know really anything. At the end of the movie, by the end of the movie, we don't really know anything about her really. We get a little bit,
We're
but
told her entire story, but it's done in such so many cliches in the story.
that we hear her story, but it's very vague story. It's not like, we don't really know anything about her specifically. It's kind of just like, oh, my family, my village, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
That traditional kind of trope that it's, oh, he terrorized my village, or it's like, okay, we've heard this shit before.
Yeah,
It's like, all right.
I think that's what I was saying too, about specifically our lead character and this this female character. I feel like both have become their own cliches now, where I feel like they're just so forced into the story that it's regardless of it, it's kind of to the point where it feels pandering in a way. I don't really know how to explain it. And I kind of knew this was going to be the problem. But I didn't mind them so much. It's just that the movie around them, I have to say, is kind of boring.
I actually was going to say that to you too. I think that when there's okay, the gore was pretty decent. I think
When
it
you
was.
get it.
When you do get the gore, it was decent, but it takes a lot out of you just to get to that point. Like there's a lot of lurking and like
Which I like, but-
shadows in the background and blips of the monster on the screen, and he's hiding behind someone's shoulder, and all of those cliche things that you would expect. It got annoying after a while. I was like, okay, like we need a little more than this. But they did do a couple things that had me like, oh, that's badass. That's kind of cool because you don't see that in horror movies every day. But overall, it was like just waiting and waiting and waiting and lurking and searching the ship trying to find it. And it was like, oh, okay, well, it's making me tired. Like I'm ready to go to bed at this point. But I do feel that the ship looked amazing. I like the ship. I thought it looked cool.
Yeah, specifically the front of the ship.
Yeah.
It was pretty neat.
Yeah, there's some cool shots in there of like parts of the ship that were like the statues and things like that. The ship was pretty awesome. The creature itself, I was a little worried about it becoming like a CG nightmare.
Kind of is.
It was to a point, but sometimes like the long shots, like the far away shots, it looked creepy as hell. But like when you got up close and you can actually see it, you could tell that it was like, oh boy, like a pile of rubber.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's one of those movies where the thing is skinny and it keeps growing. And as it's doing that, it's so CG'd heavy. Mm-hmm. I kind of wish it was something like Doug Jones in a prosthetic suit. I think it would have been more amazing looking.
Yeah, they don't do that anymore, unfortunately.
Yeah, I feel like you can very much tell. And the movie's so dark that it's a way of getting around the CG a little bit, making it so dark. You don't have to flush it with the color lighting very well.
I was thinking that too, like the lurking and the quick shots, like that's how they avoided it looking, kind of goofy.
Yeah, but then when you get it up real close to your face, you're kind of like, eh. Yeah, I actually like the lurking stuff. I'm a big fan.
No, I like the lurking too, and I like the
like slow
creepiness, the slow build. I do like that, but when we're way past the hour and a half mark, and I'm like, okay, I'm sick of this. I'm sick of it. Like, come on out. Let's fight like a man. Like it was just too much lurking in the shadows. And I know that he's a vampire, but you're on the open seas and you're on a ship.
Yeah.
Like where the freak is this thing hiding? Like how many places on this ship can this thing be hiding in broad daylight? Like, come on.
Yeah.
Like, it took half the movie for them to figure out that they had to search a certain place. It's like, okay, come on, man. Like, what is wrong with you people? What is wrong with you? Like, it's taking you the whole entire movie to figure out you should look below deck? I mean, he's a vampire, stupid. It's like, get under there. Do something.
Yeah.
I mean, it was annoying after a while. I was getting bored.
The movie could have been more cliche, which I was kind of happy. I thought they were going to keep doing more and more cliche things, like a man character trying to rape a woman. I actually thought they were going to go there at one point, but they don't, thank God.
Well, yeah, because they're like on a, they're sailors.
Because when guys see a woman, automatically in these movies, they have to.
Well, they did say a woman on board the ship is bad luck.
I know, they say it a lot,
They did say that a lot, yeah.
But I thought they were going to do all these crazy things. I'm like, these tropes that you see in a lot of these things.
I'm glad they did it.
They felt like they were about to do a lot of them, and they didn't do it. They kind of backed down a lot, and that was good. But, yeah, I would also say that the score needed to be a little more intense.
You're right. It was very lackluster.
Yeah, score can silence and score can make or break your film, and I think this movie was doing a uneven balancing act of the two that kind of never worked 100%. I also say when you have a small cast and that means there's less fodder, less gore, less scares, less setup. And also, you can tell, this is going to be a slow burn.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the slow burn isn't even a good slow burn. Like, I've seen movies where I love where shit does not happen, but for some reason, they know exactly how to film a tense scene.
Mm-hmm.
That's not happening here. This is just padded. That's just going through the motions. And what's really shocking is the finale. It goes on, and you really don't need it.
No,
and
you don't.
that's a problem. It's also very odd that the ballsy way to do the ending. I wouldn't have done that personally. I would have just ended it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I didn't hate it, and I also didn't love it.
No, I didn't hate it either. I thought that they did some cool stuff. The actors were fine. The directing was fine. I mean, except for, the lurking too much. That could have been avoided. But otherwise, I do think that there were some cool things going on in this movie. But I was hoping that I'd come out with a 6, but it's not happening. I'm going with a 5. It's mediocre.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go for a 5 as well. I really don't. I mean, I didn't hate it, but this is one of those movies that's going to burn away in my brain very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And it does not add to my question of how I feel about vampire movies. It didn't add to it. Like, it just basically made me go, yeah, more of the same.
More of the same, exactly. Like, there was nothing that was outstanding to me in this movie. Like, there was some, like I said, some cool stuff, but
yeah,
it wasn't mind-blowing.
Yeah, I would point out that even the cool stuff, the stuff that was kind of like, oh, that's a neat idea, that's a really cool moment,
Mm-hmm.
it's not even given the breath that it needs to rest or make you feel it. It's just happening so quickly that you kind of just keep moving on, and you never really get to feel the weight of any situation.
That's true. Yeah.
So I think that's another problem with the film not really establishing its weight at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it also kind of suffers from that idea we kind of already know the story.
Yeah.
Unless people don't know the story. But then even then, you pretty much can figure out this path of this movie really quickly just from this trailer.
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll forget about it in a couple of weeks, and
I already forgot. And
that's it. It's out of my mind. I'm done. I don't need to think about this movie anymore.
yeah, I mean,
That's it. I mean, there's
this
really
is a pass,
nothing.
and there's no way this is gonna be successful.
It's not going to be.
It was already hidden in the back theater for
Yeah.
us, so that pretty much is a bad sign. It was in the smallest theater.
Yeah, we had there was a couple people though. We had some people.
Yeah, people came in. I was a little surprised about
I don't
that.
know. I mean, maybe it'll make money. I mean, I don't think it's going to make a
I don't
whole
think so,
lot, but
yeah.
I feel like this movie is like, just wait until it's streaming and then watch it. You don't need to run to the theater for it. That's my opinion. I'm giving this a 5, and that's all I got for you.
All right, till the next movie, which I believe is going to be Blue Beetle. So we'll see how that goes next week.
All right.
All right, thanks for listening. Have a good one.
Now, Dracula gonna separate you into 2 groups. Ugly and dummy. You ugly, you ugly, you ugly, you a dummy. You ugly, you a dummy, and you ugly. You in both.
What purpose does this serve?
Dracula didn't ask for no lip. Dracula trying to bring your education.